What's up, guys? It's KB. Make sure you subscribe to the Underground Sports Philadelphia YouTube channel. Click the bell icon down below so you don't miss a single video from us. And thanks for tuning in to another video from Underground Sports Philadelphia. Now let's get into it.
Philadelphia, baby, you're going to love it. Best sports fans in the world. Actually the worst, but that's what makes them the best.
And it's caught in the end zone for a touchdown by Xavion Diaz. A great throw. Diaz wide open. That was a little suspect there.
And welcome back, everybody, to another episode of Guzman's Gridiron, presented by the Red and Gray Gridiron Group and Underground Sports Philadelphia. It's Kyle Bennett, Coach Guzman here, as we get set for another big home game this week. Good to have back-to-back home games. Before we get into everything, make sure you guys like and subscribe to the podcast wherever you get your podcast in audio form. And if you want to watch the show each and every week, we debut it as a premiere, so it's almost like watching live TV on the Underground Sports Philadelphia YouTube channel. Leave a like on the video, drop a comment down below. We read the nice comments on the show as well, so be sure to like and subscribe to the podcast. Coach, congrats on a big-time win against Clearview this past Thursday. Take us through just the game in general, what you saw from the guys in a big-time win. And I think the biggest takeaway that I took from Thursday night was, even in a game that can get so lopsided, it seemed like everyone remained disciplined. They stayed on task, and it was a big-time team win.
Absolutely. Kudos to our staff and the kids. They performed to a T. They went ahead and they did their due diligence as far as going ahead and watching film, as far as going ahead and ultimately what I said last week was execution. We needed to execute on all three phases, and our kids came up and executed on all three phases. So for that, very proud of the kids, very proud of the coaching staff, and it was a much-needed boost for us as a team.
Take us through, just the first home game and the energy that was in that building. It was halfway through the first quarter, and Rich and I were up in the booth, and it was like, there's still a lengthy line of people trying to get into this game. Yeah. It was one of the cooler scenes I've seen at GIttone Stadium in a long time, and you could feel the pent-up readiness of wanting to have that first home game, and the fans and the support showed out in a big way. A huge opening night crowd for you guys.
With the theme being that glow theme, Miss Ashley and administration, did a great job with the theme and coming up with that for the kids. And then the student section was absolutely phenomenal. We thank the kids here at Vineland. We have great kids, and they came full out support. As relatives, friends, family, they were there in groves, and it was a much needed scene for our kids. They needed that. They needed to see their home crowd in full compliance and full activity. It was an awesome and electric atmosphere. We can't ask for more.
There was no seat left uncovered at
No,
GIttone Stadium last Thursday. It was super cool, and for everyone listening that was in high school around when I was in high school and we were part of that original resurgence of the fan section and everything, we called ourselves the Crazies. It had that type of energy that was birthed from my junior year team going on the road to St. Augustine Prep and upsetting the Prep. Right. And from there, our student section really, emerged and evolved. And for like 5 years, it was a big time thing. And it was good to see it back. And it felt like, the early 2010s again at GIttone Stadium from my, experiences and everything, which was so much fun to kind of just have that bird's eye view from the booth of it and everything. The band showed out.
Absolutely. The
cheerleaders showed out. And it was just an awesome environment. And I'm excited for, us to be able to do it all again on Friday in a big time game. Yeah. But take us through, we'll start with the first half on offense because if you weren't at the game or didn't get to see the game, starters played a majority of the first half. Second half, a lot of the backups got time just because of how the score was. And I think that's valuable for you guys, too, as coaches to kind of have film and game experience for guys that aren't traditionally starting week in and week out.
Again, under my watch, under Danny's watch, we're a classy program. We're not going to, go ahead and throw the kitchen sink at kids. That's not how you win. I teach my kids we win with class, we lose with class. And that's what we did. First half, we ended at 41-0, and that's enough. What do you want? 100-0. I mean, a win is a win. You don't want to demoralize kids. There's some, programs, if you want to call yourself that want to pour it on 100, 120 points, whatever they can score. That's not how you win. In Vineland, as long as I'm here, we're going to win with class. And I went ahead, had the starters first half. We scored 41. Our starting defense held them to 0. So I went ahead and started plugging in our second string. And it's good because now our second string's getting that good game experience against a first-string opponent. And they came to the table, and they popped in a couple scores. We kept it on the ground the second half, as you should. Let that, even though the clock was already running, you let that clock run even a little more each time with the ball on the ground, which, again, we're going to be a classy program through and through, and that's how you win.
I think arguably, I'm curious to see how you'd agree. I think this was Elyjah's best game so far.
Absolutely.
Hands
Three
down.
Touchdowns.
Three touchdowns. And I said it in the booth when we were on the broadcast, and I'm not saying this just because I'm an Eagles fan. There was a lot of Jalen Hurts in Elyjah's game on Thursday night from his run down the sideline that resulted in a touchdown, those fadeaway passes to Mark Mutcherson all alone by himself, and obviously there was a nice little couple tush pushes in there for Elyjah as well. But a lot of similarities to watching Jalen Hurts play football too, and that was fun to watch just his evolution as the game progressed. Take me through what you guys saw from Elyjah in this game, and what do you think made it so possible for him to kind of just have this coming out party, and what a way to do it in front of your home crowd for the first time as a freshman.
Elyjah Calderone he's a special kid. I've said that from day one. He has matured in these last 5 weeks in an unbelievable way. His teammates rally behind him. He commands the attention at the helm, if you will, and he's just blossoming into something really, really cool, man. Every game he just gains a little more in his toolbox. Every single game, his attention to detail, his attention to seeing what's in front of him, seeing what the defense is going to give him. The kid is special, man. He's special. Again, I said it from day one, and we're very, very proud of him. We're proud of the fact that he goes ahead and takes control of that offense as he should.
It was very funny. I got a chance to talk to Coach Vizo before the game, and we were talking about just different ways that we could see Elyjah kind of evolve his game in this offense. And one of the things we brought up was like we would love to see him in I formation a little bit more with the running backs that you guys have. And don't you know, at first play of the game, there's some I formation going on. I was like, is there a bug on me? Is there a wire on me? Like, what is happening?
It's not happening. I'm free.
And it was cool to watch him in a different formation than what we've seen him over the past couple of weeks, and seeing him operate under center. I think that's valuable for a young quarterback, too, to be able to be multidimensional like that, to operate out of shotgun, but also, hey, I can get under center, get the ball right in my hands, and either take it with me and, sling the rock like he did, or hand it off to one of the stable, horses back there in that backfield. I thought he played really well under center for the first time, really seeing it in a big-time package for him.
Yeah, again, Elyjah is a dynamic player. He could go on and take on a lot of different, looks, if you will, offensively, and he rolls with it. He does an excellent job on maintaining contact with that football under center. Even if we go ahead and we put him in shotgun formation, which is normally his MO, he does an excellent job there too. So again, his game is evolving every week. Coach Hendricks, that offensive unit is putting on a show with him. They're going ahead, they're giving him a little more, they're feeding him a little more every week, and he just digests that and then puts it on display come game day.
What was the reaction when you see him just lob that beautiful pass, Mark Mutcherson wide open on an island? I was, blown away by just the ability of Mutchie to get that open so seamlessly. And it was just a beautifully placed ball. And then he did it again, and I thought Mutch got enough to get the ball to cross the plane. He was down at the 1. Yeah. But to see just that throwing progression, and it really looked like Elyjah was able to step up in the pocket in this game a lot, and to just hit Mark on those passes was just a thing of beauty.
I can't say enough about that kid, Mark Mutcherson, one of our captains, one of our leaders, great kid, on and off the field. And he shined like really bright that night, didn't he? His passing, routes were on cue. His breaks in and out on cue, and then he was showing you that speed as well. Mutchie has some quiet speed, but he with that long gait, he gets wide open pretty quickly, and it was pretty cool to see Elyjah catch that out of the corner of his eye, a couple times, lob it up there, and Mutchie did the rest.
And it was just perfectly placed, perfectly thrown passes from Elyjah too. The offense in that first half just looked dynamic. It was clicking on all cylinders. You didn't really have to possess the ball too long for the execution to be there. And I just thought it was a well-oiled machine that entire first half with the starting offense.
It really looked the part. Again, Coach Hendricks does an excellent job of preparing for the week, preparing the kids for the week. So along with the whole offensive unit, these kids are ready to play, ready to put up some points. And, every week we digest a little more as far as the playbook's concerned. So, kudos to Coach Hendricks and the offensive unit.
And then the second half rolls around. Antoine Witt comes in at quarterback. The backups kind of get their shine.
Yes.
And it was pretty cool to see Saquon Anderson get his first offensive touchdown of the season as well.
Again, another, it was – I had explained to you at the beginning of the season, it was a tight match up there with Elyjah, with Antoine Witt, and with Gage Gallo. But you see that closeness was really there. And, Antoine, it was like plug and play.
Yeah.
We take Elyjah out, we put in Antoine, you're getting the same results, So he's going to be dynamic in his approach and in his play. So it was good to see him go ahead and give Saquon that nice lob over there. And, Saquon was enjoying every minute of it. Another dynamic player showing off his speed and his ability on the field. So very proud of those kids.
Rayon Carter also gets in the end zone. It was
it was
anybody's night. Anybody could have gotten a touchdown that night, the way that you guys were just moving the ball down the field on offense. And again, I think, Rich and I talk about it on the broadcast all the time, and I think it is such a valuable part of the way that this special teams unit has been playing for you guys is most of the time you guys are playing with half the field.
Yes.
The way that the return game has been, whether it's on kickoff or punt, you guys are playing half the field. And that is such a game changer when you also have somebody who has the ability to punt the ball down the field and pin your opponent inside the 20, inside the 30. That's 70, 80 yards they have to go rather than 45, 50 yards that you guys are going each and every game. It's such a weapon and such an advantage for you guys that you're only really playing half the field, and it feels like that's been a majority of offensive drives for you all season long, not just in this game.
Again, Coach Shelton, Coach Garton, they're doing an excellent job with the special teams unit, and it shows every week. They're gaining a little bit every week. A little more is getting dumped into their saddle, if you will, and I can't say enough about those two guys. They're really doing their due diligence and as far as getting the kids ready. And it just shines through come game day with them. We're working, like you said, most of the time we're working with half the field. That's critical in a game, critical. And that's such an advantage for our offense to go ahead, get on that field and know, wow, we only got half the field to go to put this ball in the end zone. So kudos to my staff. They're doing an excellent job with the kids.
And, it's a credit to just the shiftiness and the pure freak athleticism of Xavier Diaz, because more likely than not, he's the one saying, give me the ball, I'm gonna field this one. And he's taking it, from the 20-yard line and bringing it all the way up past the 45 and into enemy territory 99% of the time.
Yeah, Xavier Diaz, that boy is just he's electric. He's just electric. When he gets the ball, you have no idea where he's going to go. He has so many different ways to attack you and ways to get you off balance so that he can gain. It's scary to watch him run that football. And he showed it again. He showcased his talent again, this week. He's just somebody that we need to have on those particular special teams units. And he loves it. And we love having him. He's incredible.
And somebody who has been shining in all three phases of the games this entire season and shined again on Thursday night was our MVP, our most Vineland player, and that is Mason Afanador, who really came to play in all three phases. Was on the field the entire first half, offensively, defensively, and to me, he's really been making his mark as a special teams ace for you guys this year at that gunner position. And our MVP is brought to you by the City of Vineland. And whether you're a company looking to expand, relocate, or you're a new business startup, selecting the right location is critical to your success. Vineland, New Jersey offers both an affordable business location and an excellent quality of life. And the city's Economic Development Department is a one-stop source for moving your project through the development and approval process. And their goal is to make this process as smooth as possible and to provide the fastest turnaround times in the region. If you're considering potential locations for your operation, contact the Vineland Economic Development Team at 856-794-4100. That's 856-794-4100. Vineland, New Jersey, where it's always growing season, our presenting partner for your MVP each and every week. And Mason just continues to dazzle me on special teams. The way that he's embraced that role, we talked about him a couple weeks ago and just his leadership and everything. I think that is also a reflection of him embracing this special teams role that he has, and he is just making plays drive in and drive out whenever you guys are on special teams.
Mason has really, embraced the fact that he's matured. He's embraced that, and I love him for that. He's shown it on the field. He's shown it off the field. So his leadership ability has gone up. And on that field, he's locked down. He's locked down on defense. On offense, he goes ahead and gets separation and makes plays also. But he's just somebody that you could really count on to make a tackle. And that's why he's on nearly every special teams. And he's definitely, out there on the defensive unit side of the ball. But again, he shines on all three phases. This kid is just really taking a role where I'm going to lead by example. And, everybody stay with me because we're going to get this done.
And, as a senior, you talk about leading by example. When you have underclassmen seeing somebody like Mason, who's been on this team since he was a freshman, kind of embrace a role that isn't necessarily meant for a starter. You don't necessarily want all your starters out on special teams just because of risk of injury, risk of overplaying, and them being on your defense or offense and being a key contributor on those phases. But how special is it to kind of watch the underclassmen see what Mason's doing, playing nearly the entire game and doing it without, any type of concern, any type of issue with it, and he's just embracing playing in all three phases.
It's just it's awesome to have seniors like that, like a Mason, like a Muchie, like a Noah Cruz. These young guys are looking up to him. They're looking up to him. They're reading them. They're seeing what they're doing on a day-to-day, and it rubs off, right? When somebody's doing something right and that right is working, it rubs off. So I can't say enough about these guys. They're just quality guys that we have in the program that we're happy to have.
And I know my guy Mark Tribble, who covers pretty much the entire state of New Jersey at this point for Glory Days, and does a fantastic job. My hat's off, no pun intended, to him. He's been posting each and every week the highest scores in the area, and don't you know, the Fighting Clan came out on top this past week. Most points in the area. What does that mean to you, just seeing just the way that you guys were able to execute and going up against an opponent who, you guys have had back and forths. One year it's
Absolutely.
you guys, the next year it's Clearview, the next year it's you guys. It's been a ping pong battle almost with who comes out on top. To come out on top in such a big way and in the area where there's so much talent, this week it was Vineland's week to be on top in terms of points scored.
Coach Duncan and his crew, I can't say enough about them over there at Clearview. Just a quality coach, and coaching staff. So, he did a versed job and going ahead and getting his team ready. He just came up short, that's all. But as far as our kids going ahead and handling their due diligence, we're just very proud to say that they went ahead, executed, did everything that we asked for of them, the week of, and we came out with that W at the end.
And, as you guys get set to prepare for arguably biggest game to this point in the season against Atlantic City, how much does a win like this past Thursday against Clearview in front of your home fans and doing it in such a fashion to really get that buy-in for the first time from your student body, your fellow classmates and everything? I was talking to some people on the sideline too, it could have been a detriment to be on the road for 4 straight games where, the first home football game in any area, that's kind of the welcome back to school type of vibe, and that gets everybody back together. So your first night out as a high school kid is going to the football game, and to have to wait, until the very end of September for that to happen when school's been going for, 3-4 weeks now, and you're kind of in a routine, and, you don't know what the football schedule is going to bring.
Right.
To have a decisive win like this and to have that good first impression for your 2024 fan base, how much of that do you get to kind of carry over now into this week on Friday and have that goodwill and good faith of your fans to, hey, let's run it back and do it all over again?
We're going to go ahead and take that energy, and apply it to this week. However, we know we have a large task at hand. Coach Keenan Wright and his staff do an excellent job with their kids. This is a quality guy that gets his kids prepared, and then he doesn't forget either. He doesn't forget about last year and the year prior, so he knows that I know him, so he's going to have his kids ready. He's going to have his kids with a little chip on their shoulder to get back at us for what we did as far as knocking them out of the playoffs. And, all that jargon and all that talk, I've already went ahead and relayed to my kids. Getting them mentally ready because it's going to be a war on Friday. It really is. A war of will, a war of attrition. It's going to be something that the kids are going to remember on both sides of the ball, for AC as well as us. And we know that going in. But again, we're going to go ahead, ride with the energy that we had this past week, but we've got to, temper everything to, manageable chaos, right? Chaos, but manageable chaos. And, we're going to go ahead and put forth our best foot and try to get this W this Friday.
How nice is it to have a Friday home game for the first time
Friday
this
Night
year?
Lights, guys. I mean, come on, man. That's football.
Don't have to get on a bus and drive over an hour to a Friday game. It's right in the backyard, and the first Friday game at home of the year has to feel good.
It's amazing. It brings normalcy back. Where we were, Thursday here, Friday there, Saturday here, back to Thursday. It's like, we were topsy-turvy all the way around, but now, everything's looking like it's getting back in order. I think we have another Thursday game coming up. But for the most part, we're looking at, Friday Night Lights or Saturday where I believe in homecoming we have Saturday at 1 o'clock. So, it just brings that normalcy back. And, again, it's nice to play Friday Night Lights. I mean, that's high school football, man. So.
Especially with a matchup of this magnitude.
And we're talking playoff contention type of atmosphere. It's the kids know what's riding on this game. They know that we have got to execute like we've never done before on all 3 phases. Field position is going to be a must. AC typically is giving you they're a high-powered offensive team with very athletic kids. That quarterback is he's just an athlete, and of course you already know their wide receiver already committed to Rutgers. He's a phenom in his own right. The running back runs hard. I mean, Keenan has some kids over there. His line blocks well interiorly. on the corners and on the edges, they block well as well. So we got our work cut out for us, but best believe we're going to be ready come game time.
It's always fun, even with this new West Jersey Football League that, new.
Right.
Obviously, it's been around for a little bit now, but in the grand scheme of historical reference, it is new.
Right.
How fun is it to have like that old school Cape Atlantic League, matchup where, we obviously have our county rivals here in Vineland, but Vineland and Atlantic City, that's a big time South Jersey rivalry, I think, across the board in every sport for both schools, whether it's football,
Right.
soccer, swimming, baseball. Like you see Atlantic City on the schedule and your eyes perk up and it's like, oh, it's rivalry week.
Yeah, and again, with the added, chip that Keenan is going to go ahead and tell his team and his staff, we've got to be ready for that. We got to be ready for that energy coming our way. And one thing that I preach to the kids: do not let that energy get to you. You got to stay within the parameters of the football game. That's it. Don't get too high. Don't get too low. Stay right, even keel, and rely on the fact that you had a great work week. Rely on the fact that you saw film on your opponent and that you're ready to come to play and execute on all three phases.
Going into a matchup like this, it's obviously going to be highly contested. Some scoring is going to happen, but, Coach Smith has another streak going right now.
Yeah, he
nice
does.
little four-quarter shutout streak.
He does.
What is the vibe in the defensive meetings and everything, defensive practice this week, coming off such a big-time dominant win like that, and the defense playing such a huge factor in it? Like you said, first half with the starters held them 41-0.
Right.
You hold the shutout the entire game, and I posted this on Twitter and Facebook. Last year, through 12 games, I believe it was, you guys had 3 shutouts.
Right.
Now through 5 games, you have 3 shutouts. What does that say just about the magnitude of the talent on this defense and their will to, hold their opponents in check and make sure that, at the end of the day, you're not getting in the end zone on our watch. You're going to have to earn it.
Yeah, our kids are, I wouldn't trade them for the world, not one of them. They're just great kids. They come to play. They give you their heart and soul, and they're watching film. They're doing all the little things right. And then, of course, then you have their ergo, Batman and Robin in the Batcave, whipping up some beautiful defensive schemes together in Coach Clifton Smith and Coach Ryan Shelton. They're just they love what they do, man. They really love and enjoy what they do, and it shows every single time they hit the field. It just shows, that's the spark. If I had to say what's the spark or what's the heart of our team, it's got to be that defensive unit. It brings a whole new attitude to our whole team as far as energy is concerned. They really spark that energy that the offense needs, and then once they get going, man, the offense starts to feed into it. It gets really, really energetic in that room, and again, my hat's off to Coach Cliff and Coach Ryan. They're doing an excellent job defensively.
We're going to take a quick break to have a word from our sponsors, but don't go anywhere. On the other side, we're going to preview this old school Cape Atlantic League rivalry some more, get into our alumni as Tyrene Powell and Rutgers had a big-time
4-0.
Big-time win, 4-0 for the first time since 2012. And we'll check in on some other things around the Vineland High School football universe. But don't go anywhere. You're watching and listening to Guzman's Gridiron right here on Underground Sports Philadelphia.
I'm Mayor Anthony Finucci. If you're looking for the right location, think Vineland, New Jersey. Our pro-business approach is supported by financial incentives, workforce development programs, and other resources which can give your business a competitive edge. Whether you're starting a new business or expanding to new markets, our business environment, infrastructure, accessibility, and quality of life make Vineland an ideal location. More information about how we can help your business grow can be found at vinelandcity.org. Vineland, New Jersey, where it's always growing season.
Hey, everybody, quick ad break, and I want to talk to you about our amazing sponsor, Allen Associates, returning for a second season here on Guzman's Gridiron. We are extremely thankful to have them on board with us for the 2024 Vineland football season. And if you are looking for a reliable and experienced insurance agency that caters to all your needs, look no further than Allen Associates Insurance Services.
With over 6 decades of experience under their belt, they specialize in health insurance, financial services, and accounting. Whether you're a part of the public or private sector, they've got you covered. Their family-owned business currently helps upwards of 300 groups throughout New Jersey, providing them with the best insurance options available. You can easily learn more and access their services by visiting their newly renovated website, AllenAssoc, that's ALLENASSOC.com. So join the family and let them help you secure your future. Contact them today online or by calling 856-692-2250. That's 856-692-2250. Big thank you to Allen Associates for being a proud partner of Guzman's Gridiron.
And welcome back, everybody. Thank you to our sponsors and coach. Our game previews each and every week brought to you by Allen Associates, proud partner of Guzman's Gridiron. And if you're looking for a reliable and experienced insurance agency that caters to all your needs, look no further than Allen Associates Insurance Services. With over 6 decades of experience under their belt, they specialize in health insurance, financial services, and accounting. Whether you're a part of the public or private sector, they've got you covered, and their family-owned business currently helps upwards of 300 groups throughout New Jersey, providing them with the best insurance options available. You can easily learn more and access their services by visiting their newly renovated website, which is linked in the description of both the audio and video versions of this podcast. So join the family and let them help you secure your future. Contact them today online or by calling 856-692-2250. That's 856-692-2250. And big thank you to Allen Associates for being a proud partner of Guzman's Gridiron. Coach, Atlantic City, we were touching on it a little bit in the first half of the show, but you know, when a team is on the schedule back-to-back years now, you've had a couple of them this year already. As a coaching staff, how valuable is that for you to kind of have a little bit of knowledge of how they operate offensively, defensively, and on special teams, and kind of knowing what they do well, what you kind of have to pinpoint and really have that attention to detail locked in on? And how valuable is it to kind of know what you guys do well against them, having that game experience?
It is nice to have that one-up, if you will, knowing our opponent, kind of knowing what they like to do, what they don't like to do. On top of that, you know, we're preparing in that we watch, tons of film. You know, there's a lot of due diligence done in that department. And then we just put everything together like a puzzle, man, and come out with our offensive schemes based upon that, our defensive schemes based upon that, and as well as our special teams based upon that. So it is nice to have that familiarity with a team. But you got to remember also the flip side of the coin. Coach Keenan's going to have that familiarity as well. So we know that going in, it's not going to be easy. It's going to be an uphill battle, and we just got to put our best foot forward and put out the best product we can.
And if memory serves me correct, you know, last year when Atlantic City comes in for the postseason and everything, the talk was Atlantic City was going to come into Vineland and wipe the floor with the Fighting Clan and everything. And
yes,
you proved the doubters wrong in a big way.
Yes.
Does that also stick in the back of your guys' mind and the guys who were on the team last year, knowing that, you know, it's a similar opponent? Obviously,
yes,
some seniors have moved on from both teams due to graduation, but, you know, there were people out there in this community and in Atlantic City
yes,
and across South Jersey that doubted the ability for Vineland to get a win against Atlantic City, and that can stick with you, and I think that can be used as motivation. Be like, hey, we played this team before and we were doubted. Let's use that to fuel us a little bit.
Absolutely, Kyle. Like, you know, you hit every single angle, even people here in our hometown, you know, doubting us, you know, oh, they're not going to win. At the end of the day, our kids are resilient, man. They're going to go ahead. Again, I always tell them, you know, take all these words, let them go in one ear and out the other, because these people, whether they're from this town or from other towns, they're not you. They are not you. They're not part of this program. They know nothing. They think they know. And you know what the funny thing is? A lot of the people that talk, especially from this town, that they think they know everything, were bench players.
Mm-hmm.
They handed out water, Kyle. And I'm not even lying. I'm a straight shooter. This is what it is. Through the years, I've even confronted these people, and I'm like, wait, I remember you. You sat the bench. You handed out water. And you now are the Sunday night quarterback that knows exactly what to do. You're Bill Belichick in a different form. Keep handing out water, bud.
With no rings on your finger.
None. With nothing. You're lucky you played football with your teammates. You didn't. But anyway, that's another story. Let me not digress. But our kids are resilient. They're going to go ahead. They're going to do their due diligence. And don't be surprised if they come and shock the world again. It's not going to be shocking to us. We already know what these kids can do. And if last year wasn't a telltale sign of what we can do against a pretty solid AC team, playoff bound, the whole nine.
A top 3 wide receiver in the state.
Who's
still back.
I mean, he's there, and he's about to go ahead and join the likes of, Coach Greg Schiano's team over at Rutgers, which that's another story in itself. He's doing an excellent job over there. But, I mean, they're loaded with talent again. So, again, don't be surprised if Vineland comes to the table and wipes the table clean again. I mean, it is what it is. Our kids, I'm going to take our kids over any other kids any day of the week.
And it's why you play the game.
Yes. At the end of the day, you have to play the game. Whether you have the greatest, talent on your team or the not so greatest, you got to play the game of football. So whoever's going to execute that day and execute to a T all 3 phases has a shot to get that W under their belt.
How nice as a coaching staff is it to have the semblance of a playoff game in early October and kind of getting that feel for what later on in the season can feel like when it is 2 heavyweight, teams going at each other that are fighting for an inevitable playoff spot and knowing that, there's a lot on the table for this game.
It's pretty cool to get that almost like a pre-playoff feel. It's got playoff contingency. This game is a game that we need to go ahead, execute on all 3 phases, and come out with a W, because it'll put us in a light playoff-wise that will be very manageable when it comes to that time. So the kids know what's riding. The kids know, and staff know what's at stake. So we've got to come correct come, this Friday.
How much of an advantage is it that this game is at home rather than on the road? We talked about the home field advantage and everything. Feeling good, 2 home games in a row, but in a matchup like this, I do feel like home field advantage will play a part, and to have your home crowd backing you, that crowd noise, the band, the cheerleaders, that plays a part no matter what level of football you're playing in. But when it is a game of this magnitude, when there are playoff implications on the line, I feel like that's such a nice little thing to have in your back pocket that you can rely on those benches behind you to be kind of that 12th man.
Listen, fans, friends, relatives, parents, student body, come out in groves this Friday, man. Come out, fill GIttone. So much so that it's overflowing with people hanging on.
It was
the
a party last week.
Yes, it was great. The atmosphere was great. Nice, clean fun. Kids had a great. I mean, I saw beach balls getting thrown with glowing lights in them. The theme this week is the pink out. Come out and support these kids, man. They're doing an excellent job for the community and showcasing their talents and upholding the name Vineland. So come and support them. They're great kids. They're doing what they got to do on and off the field, and we want that type of atmosphere. We want that big house atmosphere, so that, we, as you said, we could have that 12th man in the room, so to speak.
Going into this game, and obviously every single week injuries are a thing, but it feels like at this point in the season, knock on wood, you guys are riding pretty healthy, which is a good sign, at this phase of the season. Absolutely,
Kyle. We're lucky to have, of course, Charles. I mean, I can't say enough. Lucky to have him back and healthy. That young man, Charles Clark went ahead and he went through a lot, from his knee to his ankle. This kid has been through a lot and a lot of adversity and overcame it, and is coming back stronger than ever.
And faster than ever.
Yes, and faster than ever. He had an unbelievable, workout routine. TD and Dara, our athletic trainers, do an excellent job with our kids. I can't say enough about those guys. they're just excellent for our program. They do an excellent job with our kids, and we thank them so much from our bottom of our heart for that. And then, Phoebus, he's back. He had that lingering shoulder injury. So Zach is back, our center. I mean, everything came back at such a great time for us to go ahead and move forward looking at the, later half of the season.
And you want to talk about fast and twitchy. George Figueroa is back in a
Yeah,
big
and
way.
he's back
this
also.
past Thursday.
Absolutely.
Rich, his jaw was on the ground by just how shifty he was off first, handoff of the football, and he's fun. You said it in the first episode this year. Look out for him.
Look out.
If you lose sight of him, he's gone.
Yep. He's again another dynamic player we have, and a true freshman, Kyle. This is another true freshman that's getting a shot to go ahead and start at the varsity level. We can't say enough about that kid. Explosive, dynamic in his approach, low pad level, keeps his eyes downfield, keeps his head up, goes ahead, makes the first guy miss. I mean, he does all the little things that a running back should do. He does them, and he's a baby as far as his maturation process is concerned. He's young. He's a true freshman.
He's played in like 3 games.
Yes, but you would think he played in a bunch of games already. He's still coming on. He's still finding his way. We can't say enough about him. And again, I say it. Watch out for that kid. He hasn't shown you anything yet. Just watch out.
When you have a matchup like this, what are some things that you guys have taken into account throughout practice this week to really be prepared and really hammer home that attention to detail and some things that you want to build upon from what you saw, whether it be the first half or the entire game against Clearview, and really carry that over and carry that mindset over of like, hey, we were able to do this. Let's continue to do this.
Us as coaches, we've really concentrated on the core concepts of our offensive schemes, our defensive schemes, and really eliminating any extra. And again, attention to detail is a must. So we've broken things down in practice to where it's more detail-oriented types of things that go on the offensive side, defensive side, as well as special teams. So again, time efficiency, time management, big critical from this point moving forward later half of the season.
What's the message to a true freshman like Elyjah Calderone, where he does have this dynamic, welcoming party for his first home game and performs at such a high level, to kind of, take it with a grain of salt too? It's a different opponent this week, but you still want to build upon, the performance there and say, hey, look what you were capable of doing. Let's carry that over to this week in a bigger game, in terms of just the magnitude of what's at stake this week, and being able to build upon a performance like that.
His confidence level right now, Elyjah Calderone's confidence level is through the roof, but he manages it really well. You would think he's been playing 3-4 years. I mean, the kid is that even keel. His temperament is beautiful. His body language is getting a lot better as the weeks go on. He's not a rookie no more. It's over. That first game was done a while back, so he knows that, and he's carrying himself as he should, as professionally as he can is how he's carrying himself. And we just love that. We love the fact that he's going ahead and demanding that control of the offense. Coach Hendricks and myself, we even had some talks, and we went ahead and we've given him a lot more of the playbook to go ahead and digest. This kid he's again, I keep saying he's special, man. He's special, and he's only going to get better and better every year.
In a game like this, like we've mentioned throughout the show today, like with the stakes on the line for playoff positioning and just, a rivalry game at that.
Absolutely.
How much are you guys as a staff kind of relying on the upperclassmen and the leadership contingency on this team to really have the guys focused in on the matchup and knowing their role in this game and knowing, what has to be done in order to execute at the highest level?
Again, we hold our seniors accountable as far as making sure that they get their message across to the kids as a whole for what they're facing that week. it is what it is. We got to make sure that we're on task, focused, and ready to go ahead and execute on all three phases. And I know that my seniors will go ahead and relinquish all of that energy into their teammates and get them, as focused and on task as possible.
I like to ask you which player or players you want to see kind of take that next step each and every week. Who's somebody in practice that's really kind of stuck out to you guys as a staff and that you want to see translate their week of work on the practice field into this week's game in such a high-stakes game as well, that you're really looking to be like, hey, you can shine on the stage, now go shine?
I'm looking for Rayon Carter to have a standout performance. He's somebody that's kind of like quiet in the background, but he's a dynamic player. I'm looking for my leaders as far as my seniors, the Muchies of the world, the Noahs of the world, to go ahead and do their due diligence. But another kid that I'm looking to really have his day is Jose Phoebus. He still has to have his day offensively and defensively, as well as special teams. So if I had to project two guys, Rayon and Phoebus would be the two guys that I would say.
And what are some keys, in your opinion, watching film, watching the week of practice so far, for you guys to succeed on offense, defense, special teams? What are some things that, you're picking up on that Atlantic City's going to try to throw at you that, hey, we can throw it right back, and this is going to be key for our success to come out with a win in the win column?
I know this might sound cliche, but again, we gotta force this team to be one-dimensional. If we could force this team to be one-dimensional, it's gonna bode well in our favor, and we know that as a staff. So again, we're gonna go ahead, put in the game plan as we are, and offensively, defensively, special teams, and make sure that everything gets executed the right way come game day.
At the Vineland Municipal Utilities, we understand that when our business community thrives, we all win. As a not-for-profit utility, our reliability, lower cost of operations, and flexibility in meeting customer needs make doing business in Vineland beneficial to your bottom line. What's more, we are able to do so while maintaining our commitment to environmental stewardship. We look forward to helping you achieve your business goals now and for years to come. Vineland, New Jersey, where it's always growing season.
Check in on our alumni that are doing some big-time things, and Rutgers had the blackout game that
Mr.
looked
Powell.
absolutely electric,
Yeah.
and they win in prime time against a team that was playing for a national championship last year in Washington, and Rutgers is 4-0 for the first time since 2012. Tyreem back at it again. Was looking absolutely dapper in those pregame photos as well, and Rutgers gets a huge program win, in my opinion, when you're playing against a team who, was vying for a national championship last year.
Right.
For them to come into your house and you guys pull off the quote-unquote upset, or kind of that litmus test game, Coach Schiano and company, and obviously Tyreem, have to feel pretty darn good about that performance.
Again, it seems like I'm a repeating message machine, but Coach Greg Schiano and that staff are just excellent at X's and O's, at detail, attention to detail. He does a wonderful job with his guys. He gets them kids ready to play for him, and they rally behind Coach Schiano. So it's really, really nice to see him and his staff bring out a product that at the end of the day has been winning. 4-0, clean. Tyreem's back. It's just. It's nice. It's nice seeing that he's back and he's playing at a super high level, man. And he's getting that defense rallied up, something serious. It's just, again, you get chills thinking back to that game and against Washington. But yeah, I'm expecting no less than Greg Schiano doing his due diligence and coming out with another win come this week.
And college football's just been wild across the board this year. Just seeing some of the games that have been taking place and just some of the the crazy upsets we've gotten, some of the different rankings that have, come in week in, week out. I feel like this year it's funny how it works, where this year is the first year with the 12-team playoff that we're getting, I feel like, the most parity in college football that we've had in a long time.
It's different. It's different. But it's a good different, I think. People are back to getting that juicy feel, right? Like, okay, yeah, I kind of like this. This is good. This is good. With all these teams coming into this new conference, if you will, it's like, what? Wait, we're here? Yeah, you're here, and you're, players are playing and coaches are coaching. It's just a really nice feel for the college atmosphere.
Notre Dame playing this past weekend. Jordan Faison, who plays for the football team, he also plays on the lacrosse team.
Right.
Makes a big time play on defense, and they get a turnover. He runs into the end zone, and the entire lacrosse team is in the back of the end zone there to celebrate with him. I thought that camaraderie was super cool to see, where you have a two-sport Division I athlete,
right,
and his other team is all out there to support him on game day, and to just see that entire team where they're coming off a national championship. Right. Notre Dame has high expectations for their football team each and every year. Right. But to see them kind of go and support their teammate back of the end zone after he makes a big play was really cool crossover.
Again, that's how it should be, in my opinion. I know, and that goes for any level, as far as college or high school. That's how it should be. I know that Coach Russo, under his tenure, we made sure we went out and supported the tennis team, the field hockey team, the soccer team, and I've continued that tradition as well. I think it's paramount, man. It's family. You should be. It's one roof. We're all Vineland. Whether you're playing baseball, softball, we've supported it all. Baseball games we've been at, softball games we've been at. I thank Russo for that, because it brings that true sense of family. True sense of family, where you're going ahead, you're playing for your school, you're representing your school. So what better way to do that than to go ahead and support another facet of your family. In this case, this young man plays football, plays lacrosse. Lacrosse team, comes out in Groves, supports him. That says a lot, man, a lot.
It's pretty cool to watch, and it's rare to see that, I feel like, where you have an athlete who is capable of playing Division I in two different sports, no less. So it's pretty cool to see what Jordan Faison's doing. He's a wildly talented athlete.
Now I'm going to add a little – I'm going to throw this at them. Ready? Somebody who did that as well at the Division I level, who we have on staff, is Coach Clifton Smith. Played lacrosse D1 for Syracuse and played football D1 for Syracuse. So – there's your shout out, bro.
Syracuse lacrosse is no joke.
No
joke.
No. And that man is no joke. I love him, man. He's excellent dude. So I had to give you that, Cliff.
And I mean, Syracuse football off to a nice little start this year too, and that's more South Jersey in the building at that head coaching.
More South Jersey in the building. I love it. These kids deserve the exposure. Again, if I said it in prior interviews with you, if you're not about the kids truly, it shines through. Kids, they see through glass. So when you're not about the kids truly, the kids see that. You know what I mean? And that's why this show and what you do is so critical, so pivotal for the kids of South Jersey, not just Vineland. It's not just a Vineland show. If you watch it, you'll understand it's a South Jersey thing. You see what I'm saying? So kudos to you and what you do, Kyle, for real.
And here's our feel old moment of the week. Otis Harold had senior day at FDU this past weekend.
I mean, these kids, they're grown men now. It's not, I mean.
It's gross. Stop growing up.
Because we're just following that thing and we're getting older. I'm trying to keep the gray away, Kyle. I'm trying, man. I'm really trying. But it's shining through. It's like
wild.
a white now. It's on the side of my head.
Yeah, Otis Harold senior day.
It's wild. It really is. You said it best. Love that kid. He was a contributor here at a high level. That was Coach Shelton's go-to guy. They were really close. So I only wish that young man the best. He was, like I said, he was, violent through and through, contributor to our program. And, again, I only wish Otis the best.
Obviously Isaiah's still on injured reserve right now, recovering from his injury, but Chiefs keep on rolling.
Yeah.
No matter who they throw in that offense.
Big Red is just special in the way that he approaches all phases of the game. Andy Reid is a player's coach, man. Those guys rally for him. They really do play for him, and the way he goes ahead and goes about his business is just A+++. I mean, he's just a A+ guy.
And Isaiah's backup is quite the character. Coming
Yeah.
from Maction, Carson Steele, he's got a pet alligator named
Yeah.
Crocky J. And the way that the camera was positioned on him, not this week but the week prior, it looked like Crocky J was the alligator version of Andy Reid. Same energy, same mustache-looking angle. It was very funny, but yeah, the Chiefs have I guess team alligator now that Carson's on the team.
It's part of the family,
It's
Kyle.
very
He's
funny.
Part of the family,
Crocky
you know.
J.
Crocky J is there, you know.
That's Maction through and through. Is your football player in the MAC having a pet alligator?
Listen, in all my years, I've never heard of that. So kudos to that young man because he's bringing a whole different flavor to the game of football. And I can only imagine what Coach Reid thinks behind closed doors. Like, is it locked up?
Keep it away from my burgers.
He doesn't have him with him in the locker room, does he? Yeah. Keep him away from my burgers. As long as he stays in that room away from my food, I'm good. But no, that's just a joke. Coach Reid, you do an excellent job, man. And keep doing what you're doing because them guys are rallying behind you 150%.
And it feels like we could have our first big NFL trade of the year. Sounds like Davante Adams might be on his way out of Las Vegas, according to just the
He's
way.
not happy.
He's not happy.
He's not happy.
I know Raiders fans have been saying that Antonio Pierce refers to him as 17 because that's what Davante calls himself. But
Right.
when you're in a press conference with the media and you're calling other guys by their names, but you're calling your star wide receiver by his number, that don't sound too good.
No, I think at the end of the day he finds another home, and don't be surprised if he does go to, them Chiefs. Don't be surprised because if he's on that docket, he's a special player, and if he goes to the right home, it can be an all-out festival.
I've seen them in the mix, and then I've also seen the Jets as a potential landing home. Obviously, Aaron Rodgers is his former quarterback in Green Bay. And then the Saints, because Derek Carr was the biggest reason why he went to the Raiders, because they were college teammates.
Right.
And then apparently the Steelers want to get back in the mix, too, because they missed out on Brandon Ayuk, so they want to get Justin Fields a weapon. They said, hey, let's inquire about Davante Adams. I mean, all of those landing spots would be, I think, a boost for Davante right now.
Not just a boost for Davante, but any team. Mm-hmm. He's a dynamic player. He's special, man. Sometimes you go to these places and you don't really find your fit or your niche, right? Doesn't mean that the guy's a bad guy or this and that. It means that that particular team did not coincide with his energy. But you get the proper team, the proper energy around that type of dude, you're living the dream.
Mm-hmm.
You're living the dream, man, because he's a number one wideout anywhere in the NFL, number one wideout. So, as far as, Mr. Adams is concerned, I hope Davante finds a home. If you find it at, even in Niner country, don't listen. We'll be okay. We'll work with you. Please, coach, work with him. But if he does decide on going to Kansas City, that'd be fine too. That just gives Andy a hell of a receiver on the edge there to back up. Rice is hurt, man. Now you have a young guy in Worthy.
Hollywood Brown is out.
I mean, why not go after a big name like that? That if he does come and enjoys the atmosphere and buys in, another number one out there. Come on, man.
I did want to get your take on this as a coach yourself. The entire Darius Slay going on Micah Parsons' podcast situation as a team captain for the Eagles and kind of going behind digital enemy lines and going on a division rivals podcast the week after you get embarrassed in your game against Tampa Bay and then kind of poking fun at your teammates' lack of success in said game. As a fan, I was beyond disappointed, especially for a guy who's wearing the captaincy on your defense along with somebody like Brandon Graham.
On the Eagles. riding with the Dallas Cowboys.
Yes.
Excuse me. I gotta say, I'm sorry. I'm a Niners fan. That's one
That's
team.
a rivalry. Right
Listen,
there.
it's like New York and Boston. I'm sorry. I'm a New York Yankees fan. I can't stand Boston. So yes, these Dallas people. Yeah, that's bad. That's really bad.
Like,
I can only hear people in Philly cringing. Like, is that what?
and after the game, you have Darius Slay tweeting out his career stats and saying, "If you're going to talk bad about me, make sure to bring up the good as well." And then immediately goes and puts his Twitter account on private. It's just a mess.
Yeah,
and it to me
doesn't bode well.
like that does not show leadership.
Not at all. Not at all. Again, to each his own. I'm not gonna sit here and go ahead and crucify the guy. But what I am gonna say, in my opinion, if that was me, I'm not doing that. I'm not crossing enemy lines. Even if I'm tight with the guy, we can be tight. You're my guy. We'll go see each other. Go eat a meal together, hang with our families together. No problem. But I'm definitely not going on a podcast and then poking fun at my own
During the
teammates.
season, no less.
It's not happening. It's not happening. And if you do have a podcast, I would go on a neutral podcast, fishing, swimming, boating, anything other than our profession of football. It's not happening. It's just not, especially with a rival.
Yeah.
It's Dallas and it's Dallas and the Philadelphia Eagles. It's bad blood.
It's oil and water.
It's not good.
They don't mix.
It doesn't mix. So, yeah, it was, again, my opinion, I would definitely have never done that.
And just optically for your fan base, it looks bad.
Yeah.
Like, your fans are going to call you out for that time and
100%.
time again. And
It's Philly, man.
it's not a good
Philly.
look.
It's not. Listen, and this is what he might have underestimated. Come game day, when do you guys play again?
We play in 2 weeks. We have a bye week this
Okay.
week. So that also, I think, adds to it where you now have an entire bye week to sit on this and discuss it and it be in the media zeitgeist and everyone kind of calling you out for not doing the smart thing.
And guess who's not going to forget about what he said? The fan base.
And
When
our
he
next
comes-
game's at home.
What do you think's going to happen, Kyle?
Those intros are not going to be fun when they introduce number 2.
Well, I'll keep it PG in here and say you're going to hear a lot of boo. But you know that there's going to be a lot of other things where it's going to be X'd out and question mark with an A. And
Yep.
it's not going to be good for that young man. So get ready for that Philly love.
Mm-hmm.
Get ready for that Philly love, man, because they don't care.
Yeah.
They do not care. Harsh.
Especially coming off the loss.
Yeah. There's
they
going to be
went
some
through.
harsh love there. Very harsh. He's going to feel all of it in that stadium. That stadium is different.
Yeah.
Different.
Last one here, too, because they just announced some of the special guests on it, but the Eagles are doing their Christmas album again. Jason Kelsey, Jordan Mailata, Lane Johnson. Stevie Nicks is going to be on the album this year,
Okay.
plus a bunch of other guest appearances in the music industry. I wanted to see if there were 3 players on this Vineland High School football team that were to make a Christmas album. Who do you want in the booth?
Wow.
Who do you want in the booth?
The first guy, I'm sorry, I've gotta put it out there because I love him and me and him have an awesome relationship and he's special to me. Donnie St. Jude.
Yes.
He's got to be in the booth.
Yes.
Donnie's got to be in the booth. The second player that's got to be in the booth, I would have to say, because he's funny, man. Duder. Ronnie
Yes.
Temple has to be in the booth. Has to be. And
He's hitting those high notes.
Yes.
I know he's got that in
Ronnie,
his bag.
Ronnie Temple has to be in the booth. And the third guy to sing would have to be, let's see. You know what? I'm gonna throw this out there, and because you really don't know how he is, I do. He would have to be there. Saquon Anderson.
Oh, I love it.
It would have to be him because he's funny in his own right.
Oh,
When
yes.
he's away from media, he's a funny kid. So those would be my 3 to be in the booth singing a Christmas song with the Eagles.
Yeah.
They would have to.
Vineland High School Football Christmas album coming to an iTunes near you.
I would
Special guest appearance, Jamil Demby.
Yeah. Listen, I would go bananas if you saw the Eagles behind those 3 guys and their lead singing. it's over. I'm done. Flag me, do whatever. I'm done.
Yes.
Absolutely done. So
Donnie does look like he can sing.
listen,
He looks like he's got that in his bag as like one of those people that like
quiet.
when he
I don't
starts
know.
singing, you're like, you don't expect the voice to come out that comes out, but it's like, oh,
He
he's
might
got
sit
pipes.
you down. He might sit you down.
He's
I
got
don't know.
pipes.
I don't know. But then again, like I said, Saquon might sit you down.
Oh, yeah.
He might. You
And
might
I
be
know
like,
Ron Temple is not afraid to hit those
Forget
high
it.
notes.
Ronnie, I'm telling you, I'll be out of the room immediately. Once he starts saying, Coach Guzman,
fellas,
there he
let's
goes.
talk Friday night after the game. We might have to get this album going.
That might be something you have to bring up to him when you interview them
Oh, yeah.
individually.
100%.
Hey, by the way, would you like to be part of, the Vineland
The inaugural Vineland High School
You know?
football Christmas album.
and see what they say themselves? So
There
yeah.
it is, everybody. And the Eagles Christmas album always goes to a great cause, too. And very excited for the third iteration there because they have done a great job with just bringing that Christmas and holiday spirit year over year. And this year's going to be bigger and better than ever, I'm sure.
Absolutely.
Coach, final thoughts to prepare for a big-time playoff-esque game here in the first week of October at home Friday night, 6 p.m.
6
kickoff on the Vineland Public Schools YouTube channel. But if you're in the area, come out to the game.
Absolutely.
It's so worth the price of admission. But final thoughts to get everybody riled up for a big-time matchup against Atlantic City.
Well, again, family, friends, relatives, come out in droves. Student body, come out, support these guys. It's going to be an electric night. It's again, this has playoff connotations. So we're excited. The kids are excited. It's just going to be one of those nights to remember, in my opinion, here in Vineland.
Wear your pink if you're going to be
Yes,
in the
the
crowd
pink out.
too.
The pink out. Come out.
So come out, support, and it will be on the Vineland Public Schools YouTube channel starting at 6 p.m. Eastern Time. Myself and Rich Scarpa up in the booth. And be sure to subscribe to Guzman's Gridiron wherever you get your podcasts in audio form. It is available on both the Underground Sports Philadelphia podcast feed and the Guzman's Gridiron feed if you just want this show to listen to. It's available on its own feed now that's been running all season long and will continue into the future as well. And if you want to watch the show each and every week, it premieres live on our YouTube channel, typically around 6:30 Eastern Time. And you can be in the comments section with us. Keep it fun, keep it light, and enjoy each and every week the premiere of Guzman's Gridiron in video form on our YouTube channel. So subscribe to that channel as well. And, Coach, hopefully we're sitting here next week talking about a big-time win against Atlantic City.
Absolutely.
As you guys get set for your bye week
Yes.
and enjoying a win going into the bye.
It would be nice, but again, it's not going to be given to us, so we got our work cut out for us come this Friday.
So thank you to everybody for listening and watching to this edition of Guzman's Gridiron, presented by the Red and Gray Gridiron Group and Underground Sports Philadelphia. We'll see you Friday night at GIttone Stadium. And as always, go Vineland.